Alrighty, we got something a little bit different lined up for today on Slapdash Garage. We're going to be doing a budget detail service on our own, DIY style, and we're going to figure out if it's actually worth paying hundreds of dollars to have somebody professionally do this, or if we'd be better off doing it ourselves to our own standard. Alrighty, so here's the strategy for today. I picked these, these 3 items up at Menards just a minute ago, $4, like $3 and $4. Probably don't even need these, probably get away with doing it, just a wipe down, but I don't know, make the car shine a little bit, just a couple extra bucks. Found this stuff under the kitchen sink, and this was just a washcloth here. There we go, just a washcloth, and then an old ice cream bucket that we're gonna fill with hot water and this. And essentially we're just going to dip this and we're going to try to scrub everything clean. The reason why we're using Dawn dish soap, because if your car is like mine, it's got a bunch of these old spots that come from spills or whatever else, and essentially the strategy is to scrub every surface of the car just kind of lightly. That way we're not getting a whole bunch of standing water in here, just to kind of clean up on those existing spills that we had, or what other substances they may be. A lot of surfaces like this, that Dawn dish soap's going to make really light work of it. We probably get away with our Clorox wipe here. It's that degreasing properties that the Dawn dish soap has. It's going to bring a lot of, like when I've had grease on my hands and I'll come in here and grab my wheel. And like I said, this is black so you can't really see it, but this thing's probably pretty disgusting. And up here in my visor, you can see there's just little spots like this all over the car. That Dawn dish soap should take care of that. So the first thing that we're gonna do is we're actually gonna take all of our mats out and our seats actually, and we're just gonna get this thing ready for a good vacuum. Once we have the mats out, I might actually fire up the pressure washer, throw those in the driveway and try to get as much of that dirt. Like this Mazda 6 logo used to be white, and I'm gonna try to save that a little bit. And we probably won't get it perfect, but for spending a couple dollars, we're gonna get it a lot better. Pretty weird looking without a seat in it. Can do the passenger side next. But this is just years, just crap. Never had the seat out before. Never taken a seat out before. That was probably obvious from the struggling and mistakes, but pretty much just 4 mounting bolts. This one over there, last one here. Mine aren't like a special size or anything like that. They're just regular hex head. So we're going to do the same thing over there, and we're going to get all this vacuumed out. Okay, we got a front seatless car. Check it out. Golf ball. So I screwed up a little bit. Kind of gouged the hell out of my side trim. But if you're watching what you're doing and learn from this video, maybe you'll put some cloth over those next time and it won't be so difficult. The seats weren't that hard to get out. It was mostly the connectors, figuring those out, and this yellow guy. Not every car is going to be the same, of course, but this yellow guy. Let's see if I can. There's this white on the back, and when you push it, that's pretty easy to take out. But you got to get a flathead screwdriver for this guy and push this part down, and then it'll slide off. Once you figure that out, it won't be near as much of a struggle as what I demonstrated. Pretty spacious now. Oh, I guess the other thing, the passenger side seat belt was connected directly to the seat, and then there's this little retaining washer that kept it in. Now this would be pretty nice. Imagine sitting back here. I got the hood up because I disconnected the battery before I started jerking around with those, but some of the big time drag cars, they sit in the back seat. Of course the steering wheel's closer, but kind of a neat feeling. Oh, didn't realize just how loose these guys were without two seats sandwiching them in place, or two seats sandwiching this in place. So that's kind of interesting. We got our mats laying out in the sun. I was trying to get those kind of flat, and then let's go ahead and pick up the big stuff, and then we'll vacuum the rest up. We're gonna do a pretty detailed vacuum job. if you look at the carpet, it's kind of clean-ish. We just vacuumed so far, and the reason why I didn't go too far in depth is because I'm going to be climbing in and out of this, but I just wanted to get all the major stuff out. Next thing we're going to do is every surface, we're going to take a Clorox wipe because it's going to do a good enough job, but you can see it's going to leave behind some residue, but don't worry about that. But any kind of stain, like we were talking about our gear shifter earlier, this is going to do a good job of just kind of decontaminating any of that. And once that dries, we're actually going to come back with this Armor All that we picked up and go over it, and it's going to give it kind of a newer car gloss, which this car is nowhere near new anymore. But we'll just go over every surface, especially the ones that we touch often. Try to get rid of stuff. I touch these buttons all the time. I'll even use these to get the dust off the dash, and then I'll go back with this Armor All Protect. After we get all the surfaces clean, this is just a special concoction I prepared. It's just hot water and Dawn dish soap. And like I said, Dawn dish soap is a degreaser. And from all the years of eating French fries and spilling soda, primarily my girlfriend, just basically gonna come in here and do a quick, just kind of touch every surface, and especially down over here, this is definitely where food likes to fly. You can see the stains and stuff like that. Now's the time I'm gonna hit that kind of stuff. That probably would have came off with the Clorox, but I'm just gonna try to get as much as this degreaser everywhere I can, and then I'm gonna come back with the shop vac, and we're gonna suck it all back up. And we're just doing this method and not pouring it, obviously, because I don't want to really risk the carpet getting moldy or anything like that. So we're gonna do the whole carpet and then suck it all up. So I'm gonna switch over to time lapse while we do that. Not too shabby for Dawn dish soap and a vacuum cleaner. And some Armor All, of course. I just kind of did a little bit of the Armor All for now because it'll be easier to do actually once I get the stuff in the car, like the seats and whatnot. I'll do the seats while they're outside the car, but I'll do everything like the dash, that way I can sit up. Got most of the dash, but man, I like how this is turning out. A little bit of elbow grease. I'll tell you what, I bet you a handshake that a lot of people who are detailing cars aren't really doing this in depth. I mean, I'm getting behind the seat belt buckles, I'm getting in between the vents, everything that you think a detail should be. But I think we've all known somebody who's had a car detailed and it's not been worth the money, but I promise you this will be worth it, since we're only like 10 bucks in, or 12, 15, whatever. That Dawn dish soap worked really good. I had some kind of, I think it was honestly pop, the syrup from soda, but it just took care of it. So the Dawn dish soap and a brush, and then the vacuum just picked it up. So you can see there's no stain or nothing. So with that, now I think we're getting ready to give some love to our seats here. Now there's nothing I can really do about wear like this here, but I'm just gonna splash it with some Armor All. I'm sure there's patches and whatnot that go over top of that, but that's all right. It's not that kind of car. This is probably the nicest it's been treated in a very long time. This Dawn dish soap and just scrubbing elbow grease, I've always thought it's gotten better results than like when I've hopped into a dealership car and they tell me it's just been detailed. I don't know, you can still see things under the seats and whatnot, and it's just clear that somebody didn't take the time, but they certainly probably charged for it. So probably something I should clarify. I'm not saying that all car detailing businesses are all crap. That's absolutely not true. When you generalize things like that, it's just, there's no way it's going to work out. But no, there's people out there that are good and bad, just like everything else. And unfortunately, I've only had, from the times I've seen detailed cars, I've always thought that I could do it better with Dawn dish soap in a bucket. Not to say that they don't exist. I know that there's people on there. I've seen people on the internet that really, they'll clean every single fan of your AC vents and stuff like that. And I think that's what it should be. And we're just kind of scratching the surface just by doing, honestly, a wipe down. But no, there's people out there that'll do a real good job. So I'm not saying that everybody is bad. That's like saying all mechanics are bad because one ripped you off. No, there's good ones out there too. And if you find a good one, pay them, because this is, this requires some elbow grease. And I don't mind spending elbow grease, but if you're someone who doesn't have the time to spend elbow grease, find somebody you trust, But if you have the time and you don't want to spend the money, this is a good way to do it too. So if you know somebody, don't think I'm calling them out or anything like that. They probably do great work. I'm all for people starting their own things, getting out there and doing it and stuff like that, putting your name on your own work. So if you know somebody that's willing to put their own name on their work and does a good job, it's pretty cool. Pay them. Alright, now that we got the seats back in, we put in all of our little trim pieces and stuff like that. That way we're not, getting anything re-dirty again. I'm sitting in here without any shoes on. I am going to re-vacuum this carpet now that we've been in and out of it, but it'll mostly just be for touch-ups, but I don't want to drag anything else in that I don't have to. Now that the seats are in, I want to get every surface that I can reach with some of this Armor All, and I might even come back a little bit with the Clorox to kind of get some, you know, scratches here and there, not scratches, but you know, just like, you know, little scuffs like that here and there that I'm able to take off. I'm gonna hit the doors all the way. I'm actually gonna come back with that glass cleaner, and I'm gonna get the whole inside of the windshield here, and I'm just gonna get everything I can because it'll be worth it in the end. It's looking pretty good for just kind of a wipe down job. I still don't have the mats back in, but I did re-vacuum the carpet. It didn't take very long since I've already vacuumed it like 6 times. But before we go to the car wash though, I want to address this headlight. Getting pretty foggy. This headlight I've actually replaced because the lens was broke. That was some time ago though. So I got kind of an odd looking car. But there's a way around this, and I'm sure some people have already seen this, but essentially it's a kit that is here somewhere, right here. Basically it's a buffer for a headlight, and we're gonna sand it down smooth, then use some shampoo, and then hopefully get it looking like new. So to start off, I just hit it with some water. That's why it kind of looks clear now. But once this dries up, you know, it's pretty fogged over. Alrighty, so basically what we're doing is wet sanding. I'm not going to put any shampoo on here this first time because we're just slow it down. Basically what we're doing with this 800 grit is getting the surface of this headlight kind of all one flatness, if that makes sense, kind of all one surface. Instead of having some cloudy areas and then some non-cloudy areas, we're basically making the whole thing 800 grit. And so that's going to be kind of cloudy, but that's going to be fine because we're going to come back at it and work our way up. I think next up is like 1500 grit. So you can see here, we did do a good job smoothing out. I obviously missed this corner here, so I'll go back and touch that up. So again, we're not really looking for a perfectly clear headlight right now. We're looking to make sure that it's consistent, you know, because we want to bring every part of the headlight along as one big piece rather than having to go back and try to touch up certain areas. So once I wipe it dry like this, you can see here that this is still pretty different. Up here is still pretty different. So just keep going back until we got a good result. All right, I tried my best to get that corner. I'm still missing some of the edges, but the channel's called Slapdash Garage. Slapdash means jury-rigged, did in a hurry. That's what this is gonna have to be. Good enough. All right. Next up is gonna be 1500. This sandpaper's in better shape, so. Alrighty, so I think that's going to do it for the 1500 grit. Now we're going to move on to this. I don't even know if I've been using this right, but oh, there's some kind of number on the back. Finer than 15, my guess. Kind of spongy. See, it's already starting to look pretty good compared to old. I'm gonna keep hammering away at this. This is one of those things that if you skip a step, you know, like if you skip the 800 or skip the 1500 and jump around a little bit, you're gonna wish that you hadn't when you get to this final, you know, true buffing phase with shampoo and whatnot. And so taking your time here is critical. And once you get to this higher grit, you can't really go too far. It's going to take you forever to take anything off. What we're doing is, if we have any jagged edges, like scratches, we're just trying to smooth them out, because the smoother we get this headlight surface, the more see-through it's going to be. Once it's dry like this and then you look real close, you can still see some of those micro scratches, but those are small enough. We're okay with that, because hopefully this guy should take care of that with our buffing compound. So, or shampoo as I like to call it. But you got to get pretty close here to see those micro scratches. I'm not going to compare it to the other headlight until we're done, but I mean overall this looks a lot better already. Alright, and truth is, you do not need a whole lot of this. And so we're just going to go like a quarter size or a dime size circle. There we go. Right there. And then we're going to spread it out all over the headlight by doing this. If anybody's ever buffed a car, kind of similar. It doesn't take much of this. And I'm starting on a low speed. Just till we get it spread out. Crank it up. These micro scratches are way smaller, and you almost couldn't even see them unless you were really looking at them. But when you stand back, this thing looks great. Let me bring in here. Yeah, that'll do. If I get you in close here, you can kind of see those micro scratches, but they're a lot more faint. Let's do a comparison here. Yeah, that's about right. Okay, so after that, I think I'm gonna throw the mats in the car. I'm not gonna record that because that's boring. And then we're gonna go to the car wash, get it clean on the outside now. Alright folks, a car wash later, and this is the final product. It turned out great. Just picking things out from behind the seatbelt buckles, taking the seats out and identifying the old french fries from either me or the previous owner. This thing is clean, finally. Definitely do it for cheap, but I'm just saying, a car wash, Dawn dish soap, a bucket, and some hot water will get you a long, long ways. We didn't have to buff the headlight, but I wanted to, and it was something that needed to be done. Now the car looks great. From all the details to the leather to the, the back seat feel, it just feels a little bit more luxury, just sitting in a clean environment, not having old, cease and desist letters laying around, or all the little details from the seatbelt buckles, making sure that the carpet's nice and black, just the way it came from factory. I'm really happy with the way it all turned out. Well guys, that's gonna about do it for today. If this is something that you're thinking about doing, give it a shot. There's nothing that you're really gonna screw up too bad as long as you're being careful, Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next time on Slapdash Garage. Have a great day.